breaking down our top 100 NFL player ranking here on the Locked On Podcast Network. The good, the bad, and the what's that coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's the director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydayers. Guys, we dropped last week, Wednesday. We dropped our Locked On Podcast Network's top 100 NFL players. And we're going to close out the week reacting to that. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the what's that out of this list. And we won't tip our hand too early, but it's something that definitely caught our eye that we have to discuss that's inside this top 100. But before we get into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Top 10, we did our top 10 here on the Locked On Podcast Network, or top 100, I'm sorry, Locked On Podcast Network, as we got ready for NFL training camps that's kicked off this week, Keith, and we'll start reacting to some of the stuff next week, everything like that. But when you look at this list, what was the good of this list for you, right? It's 100 players. Everybody's not going to be slotted where we expect them to be, but what was the good for you?
Yeah, so first off, DP, when you do these lists, right, it's much easier to point out the things you disagree with, right? Like that's the easiest thing to do, to point out the things you disagree with. But I'll go straight inside the top 10. And four of the top 5 guys were quarterbacks. And I agree with that, right? When you talk about Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then you have Joe Burrow at number 5. So I thought that was good, right? Like to showcase the quarterbacks and how talented these guys are. And I think this may be the cutoff line when you talk about real franchise carriers, right? Like just difference makers at the quarterback position. So I thought that they got this part right. Now the order of it, I have a question mark. But the 4 of the top 5 being those guys that play at a high level and carry their franchises, I felt good about that.
Yeah, same. I think having those are the 4 true franchise quarterbacks. That you really think about in the NFL, right? We got Justin Herbert, who's staking his claim and trying to get up into this upper echelon of QBs, but you gotta get to the playoffs. You know what I mean, to be able to prove that and win playoff game or two. Like you got to really be able to be dominant and take over. We've seen Lamar do it. We've seen Mahomes, Josh Allen, and we've seen Burrow, do it as well. So these guys have done it on those biggest stages in those brightest lights. I think for me, the good was, for one, I think all 4 of those quarterbacks, all first round picks, by the way, guys. So listen, you know what I mean? If you got a first round pick, you hit on your quarterback, you save your franchise, right? You extend your time with your franchise. But for me, Keith, I think seeing the 2 edge rushers, Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons, both of those guys being in the top 10. I know there's a lot of discussion on social media after TJ Watt got the big deal and everything like that. And TJ Watt, like analytically, he's not the most double team player. And he's not a player that he doesn't rank amongst the best in terms of pressures. And Steeler fans don't like it, but it is what it is. Constant pressure, and I tweeted this out, constant pressure disrupts quarterbacks more than 2 sacks a game. You know what I mean? When you can live in the backfield at the way that Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett do, like, yeah, those 2 guys are kind of the top 2 edge rushers for me. Still love TJ Watt, but I think he just turned 30, or he might be 31 later this year. Things of that nature. They got him a big deal for like 3-4 more years. We'll see how it plays out. But Myles Garrett being where he is, he's the guy that broke up the quarterbacks. Like he's at He's at 4, I believe. He's like the 4th.
Yep,
He's number 4, and you got Joe Burrow at 5. So like he breaks up the quarterbacks a little bit, that monotonous list of the quarterbacks. But him and Micah Parsons, and I love seeing Patrick Surtain there too. Show corners back some love, especially like because you can't have the defensive player of the year not be a top 10 player like on the top 100 list. That just kind of looks crazy. So I think looking at the quarterbacks, like you said, the order of them would change depending on who you ask. You know what I mean? Like, and everything like that. And some people take into account, Mahomes should still be the best because he's been the guy from the AFC that's always in the Super Bowl.
He won the most. Yep.
You know what I mean? If it wasn't for running into the Eagles defense and in that offense, the offense played good, but that defense kept him just off kilter that entire Super Bowl, and they ended up just running over them. Yeah, like if it wasn't for that, Mahomes might have listed another Lombardi, and it's just like, well, this is boring. Like he keeps doing it. This is boring. Like, you know what I mean? So shout out to Jalen Hurts and Jalen Carter and the Eagles for kind of stopping that trend a little bit. But some people might say, listen, it's all about like what you mean to the team and everything like that too, because it's like, well, you got Andy Reid for Pat Mahomes. You got Travis Kelce, like all these different things. So the arguments are always going to change based on the quarterbacks, but I think seeing the quarterbacks in there made a lot of sense. I think for me, Keith, another good. I love this at 13, seeing Penei Sewell there. Now,
Yep.
13 to 18 has been a big discussion on Twitter, on social media as well. The Penei Sewell or Lane Johnson argument and everything like that. At the end of the day, you got two elite offensive tackles and right tackles. I love seeing Penei Sewell get the love that he deserves because he's been lights out. You know what I mean? And truthfully, if it wasn't for the Lions already having a left tackle situated, he would have been playing left tackle instead of right. So the fact that he came in, played the different position that he played at Oregon, man, shout out to him. But Penei Sewell, Lane Johnson, two of the best in the league, man. Bar none.
And the other good part I'll say is the running backs, DP. Having Saquon at 10, I really appreciate that. And then having Derrick Henry sitting here at number 14. I would say this, what went under the radar last year, in Saquon Barkley stole the spotlight, and deservingly so. I want to say Derrick Henry was right amongst the 2,000-yard rushing. Like nobody talked about it, but he could have broken the record also, right? Like he was really close to it. I want to say he finished with like 1,900 yards or 1,800 yards. It was an all-time number though. Like he finished as one of the highest rushing seasons ever, right? But nobody talked about it. 1921. And nobody talks about that. And honestly, DP, I didn't realize it until I think it was their first playoff game, and he had like the sit-down interview with Boomer or somebody like that, and he was talking with them. And then they was talking about the rushing yards, and I was like, wait, I'm like, he's only like 100 yards behind Saquon. Like, this is crazy. Yeah, and legit. We just didn't talk about it. But shout out to the running backs, right? As we get the return of the running back in the NFL, we seen that energy was kind of reciprocated through these rankings, because I could tell you this, that I doubt that it'd have been two running backs inside the top 15 a couple years ago, even if they kind of put the same type of show on. People would have just kind of called it a blip on the radar. And how much of that impact, Keith, impacted the 2025 NFL draft? We saw Genty go top 7, and then we get Omari Hampton, top 25. We had two running backs in the first round for a position that people say is so devalued. Yeah. And we just saw Saquon, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs balled out, Bijan balled out last year. Like, it was like the running back renaissance in 2024 in the NFL. And you seen those guys show up in the top 100. I think Bijan was at 30 something, and Jahmyr was somewhere in there around there too, right? And that's two young backs, so they was able to show those guys respect and love throughout this ranking. But DP, man, it's time to flip the script, right? We have to talk about the bad, the head scratching, the interesting, the things that got you to tilt your head a little bit. We're gonna talk about that coming up next within this top 100 list.
Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it all possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Reacting to our top 100 NFL players list that debuted last Wednesday over here on the Locked On Podcast Network. When you talk about the bad, Keith, I go right into that 91 to 100 range. And it's a couple players here that stand out. Number one for me is Malik Neighbors at 92. I don't see, first of all, I love Andrew Thomas, but Andrew Thomas was hurt last year. So I don't know how Andrew Thomas came in above the guy who was, outside of the concussions that Daniel Jones threw him into. Malik Neighbors was elite last year. Everything we knew about him, the explosiveness, the speed, the make you miss, the yards after catch, all of it, everything translated and transferred to the league. And I don't think he's a 90-ish player coming off the season he just had. I don't see that. So I took offense with that one. And then number 93. And I get it. It's a talking point that everybody loves to poo-poo on Dak Prescott. But if you take Dak Prescott and you put Dak in San Francisco, you put Dak in Minnesota, you take that darn star off his helmet, Keith, we talk about Dak in such a more glowingly positive way as a community.
Well,
if he doesn't have that star, if he doesn't have an owner saying we're all in every year that he never is all in on, and goes on the radio and does the things he does, and then I think I said this on the show I did. Jerry Jones writes checks that Dak and the players got to go out there and cash. That ain't fair. That is not fair at all. So
it's really the reason why you have a system of checks and balances, right? Because if you didn't, what happens is that Jerry Jones is in charge of creating the roster, right? So then he creates the roster, and then he says, "Oh, this is a good enough roster to win a Super Bowl." Well, you're judge, jury, and executioner, right?
Nobody else could challenge you.
Yeah, nobody else could challenge you on that. But go back, DP, if you want to pull a list back up, that same exact one. The one I have two situations. Number 97. Right,
I thought about that one too. Yep.
Adams at 97. I was like, come on. And I get it. He didn't have a great year, right? Didn't have a great year at all. But it seems like there were some players throughout this list that were injured that they still gave the benefit of the doubt. Like I think Christian McCaffrey was in the 40s. I even want to talk about J.C. Horn, right? J.C. Horn was in the 70s, and he's had nowhere near the career that Davante Adams has had. He's talented, right? Like uberly talented, but he just hasn't had the same career just because of injuries. And I think to put Davante Adams at 97, I was like, I don't want to see that, right? Like I was like, I don't know about that one.
And Keith, crazy enough, like Davante Adams last year, he had, I believe, over 1,000 yards still, and like eight receiving touchdowns. So it's like, the only thing was he started the season out with the Raiders, who had Aiden O'Connell as their quarterback. We saw what they did this offseason. They said, well, let's go fix that. Let's go trade for Geno Smith and extend this deal, extend this contract, and make sure he's the quarterback of the present and maybe 2 years into the future. And then he went to Aaron. And I said this when he was available for a trade. I said, if Davante Adams wants to win, don't you dare go follow Aaron Rodgers to New York with the Jets. The Ravens were heavily interested. And I'm like, brother, you're going to be playing in January, and you're going to be playing with one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And they have a run game. Their defense started to figure things out with new defensive coordinator Zach Orr, his first year there. There were so many reasons not to go to New York, but he went to New York anyway. It was a very tumultuous situation, and he still played well, for the most part, but you didn't play with a guy that was he's not one of the best quarterbacks in the league anymore. Aaron Rodgers is. I think he said on Pat McAfee show or something like that. Like, this is last year basically. So he's about to retire after this, more than likely. So yeah, I think now going to, and for me, it's not only just the coming off last year, it's like projecting what he's going to be this year. He's going to LA with Sean McVay, Puka Nacua, and Matthew Stafford. Like, if you don't think he's about to get peppered with targets, him and Puka Nacua are about to cook in LA. As long as they stay healthy, and they still run the ball with Kyron Williams. You got Blake Corum. They drafted Jarquez Hunter. They're still going to run the ball and get the play action game going, things like that. But yeah, so when I saw that was the other one, seeing him at 97, I think at 97 was just, I was like, what are we doing? Like, how is this happening?
Yeah, and so much of these things become kind of, what's the word? Outside narrative, right? Because I just seen another one just to put in context, because you called it out, and I'm glad you did, with the Dak Prescott conversation, right? And CJ Stroud at 6, I think CJ Stroud was at 60 something, right? And listen, didn't come off a great year. There's reasons why, right?
Yeah.
And that's that, right? But to have 35 spots in between those two guys, I'm just like, I don't see it. I don't get it, right? Because the year CJ Stroud's really good year, his rookie year, Dak Prescott was second in MVP voting, right? So it's like we got to put that in context of, I'm cool with keeping CJ at 65, then Dak should be in the 60s too, right? At least somewhere in there. So I agree with you. And then even you talk about narrative, like let's look at the Kirk Cousins conversation, right? Like everybody hated Kirk Cousins. Then he was on the quarterback show, and then people was like, I like Kirk Cousins as a person. Then they started liking him as a quarterback, right? And it's like, we have to keep the main thing. Are we talking about football? Or are we talking about, we don't like the person, the team, or his owner that we don't play for? So it's just interesting narratives just within it. But it was interesting list with some of those slots for some of those players. I have a question. Do you have an issue with Christian McCaffrey being that high, or are you completely fine with it?
Well, Christian McCaffrey was in the 40s?
40s, yeah, he was 41, I believe.
44. Yeah, 44. No, I do. Christian McCaffrey was hurt last year, you know what I mean, for most of the season. And it was what's the Achilles or hamstring? It was something in the lower body. But for me, it's just like, all right, and he's taking a lot of punishment from when his time in Carolina to how they leaned on him in the run and passing game, right? Because these past 2 years of Brock Purdy, when he was playing really well, you couldn't because the one thing that Brock Purdy struggles with is man coverage. You couldn't really play man with a healthy Christian McCaffrey because I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna get a matchup on your linebacker, and Brock knows exactly where to go with the ball. And I guess I'm fine with him being in the top 100, but top 45, like, you know what I mean? Like top again, go back to in the 90s, and we have like Malik Neighbors at 92. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Also, and listen, I love this dude, but 48, Calais Campbell. I mean, he's still productive. He still gets the job done. But I feel like there's like defensive linemen that are younger, like play better and everything. Like Danielle Hunter, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's one that caught my eyes too at 99.
How is he at 99? And we have at 48, we have Calais Campbell. You know what I mean? And listen, I'll tell everybody right now, if you want to know the effects of Danielle Hunter, please go watch that Chargers playoff game against Houston. And as great as Joe Alt was as a rookie, the one thing he struggled with, even in college, was guys like that. Him and Will Anderson, those speed to power conversion guys that can long arm. And Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson were in the backfield. Danielle Hunter being the opposite rusher of Will Anderson is terrifying for quarterbacks because you can't slide protection either way. And for him to have the season he did and everything, and I'm gonna pull up his numbers real quick because I'm just like, I'm pretty sure he was out there balling, and for him to be at 99, I don't see that. It doesn't make sense to me, personally. On the season last year, let's see, he had 12 sacks, 90 pressures,
Yeah.
90 pressures. What? Like, he had a pressure percentage of 19%, 12 sacks. Like, per NFL Pro, they have this thing called quick pressures under 3 seconds. He had 33 of those. Like, this dude was balling last year, and he came in at 99. Guys, we made a mistake. All right, we made a mistake putting him at 99. So we talk about the bad. Those are the things I look at. Like, again, love Calais Campbell. So much love for CMC. One of the best natural. I went to many Carolina Panthers training camps when he was there. One of the most natural runners I've ever seen in my life. Christian McCaffrey. One of the most fluid, just easy runners, man. But trajectory. Again, he didn't produce a lot last year because he was hurt. And then you're a year older. You've been battling injuries. I don't know if you could project him to be a top 50 player and expect what we've seen these past couple years prior to 2024 for Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, that's the bad, man. We had some stuff we had to work on for next year.
Yep, DP, we did the good. We did the bad. Now we got to do the one that had us with the reaction that we both said, what? What is that, right? And we're going to tell you, it's a rookie. That's the hint. A rookie made the top 100. Yes, a rookie who hasn't played a snap of football made the top 100. What rookie is that? We're going to talk about that coming up next.
This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. Fire up the group chat, get your draft board ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, me and the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making a presence in your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. And guess what, guys? It all begins on August 4th. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/locked-on. That's yahoofantasy.com/locked-on-NFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. What's that? And that is 67. Hear the number 60, not 99, not 100. Just sneak them in there. 67. We have Travis Hunter, wide receiver, cornerback for those Jacksonville Jaguars. And guys, listen, we love Travis Hunter on this pod. Last summer I came on here, I said I think he has all pro potential as a corner. Keith said I think he's be a better receiver and be a top tier receiver. We both love him, but he's the only rookie on this list. And not only is he the only rookie, he also is in the top 70 over guys like Malik Neighbors, Danielle Hunter, Devontae Adams. I'm pretty sure there was another Tariq Woolen at corner who plays corner full time. He's above Dak Prescott, right?
Brian Burns, Xavier McKinney,
Drake London,
Terry McLaurin, Gary Wilson,
Denzel Ward at 84. Like, what is that? To see Travis Hunter at 67 blew our minds. Again, we love the prospect, but here's the thing. Can we let him play a snap first? Like, this was before training camp kicked off, right? Like, can we at least let him get to preseason so we can see the usage? Like, Jackson was like, oh, yeah, we're going to use him as a receiver. All right, cool. Let's see what that looks like, right? Like, let's actually see things play out on the field before we start throwing rookies in the top 100. Think about it, Keith. Abdul Carter. I could understand Abdul. You could have got away with Abdul for sure because of his pass rush ability. And we saw the viral clip of when they threw out the 3 defensive end rotation OTAs, Kayvon and Burns, and he hits the guard with the spin. I was like, yeah, that's how do you game plan for that, right? Like, and you still got Dexter Lawrence who's going to attack the opposite, like 2 gaps over and probably cause the double team. So now you got 1-on-1 with Kayvon, 1-on-1 with Abdul, with a 1-on-1 with Brian Burns. Yeah, that's kind of a mismatch. That creates a mismatch. You could have probably snuck him in. And I wouldn't have said a thing. I'm like, I get it. And I love Travis Hunter, but yeah, no, you snuck him in there. And you know what kid I think it was? The wide receiver cornerback situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't foresee him playing both. At least not as a rookie, unless something happens and somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, because the clear path for him to play both is him playing mostly corner and then sprinkling in wide receiver, just from game planning and understanding like synchronicity within the defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was a tough task unless he plays full time, both time, unless he doesn't ever go home and studies 2 playbooks. Like it's just
right.
It's just very
2
difficult.
meeting rooms,
yeah,
like 2 different position coaches.
Yeah, because you have like he has to do both things. But I agree with you. And when I seen it, I'm almost gonna have the old man like get off my yard, right? Get off my lawn type of situation. But I almost want like to be inside the NFL top 100.
You gotta play in the
NFL, right? Like, because then we could start project. Like, do we start projecting high schoolers, right? And being like, nah, this guy's a top 100 guy. Like, no, like I think that you have to play a down of NFL football to make it inside the top 100. Now, could he potentially become a top 100 player? Yeah, sure. But I think that's part of earning your stripes and your right to be in that ilk, right? To be in that conversation.
This is a prestigious club. The top 100 NFL players.
That's what I'm saying. And you got a lot of guys that have done a lot of work just to get to the point of being inside the top 100 and to be given that before you are. And I understand it. And this is where you ask the context of lists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this projected? Or is this based off of the past, right? Because some of these things and some of these players slotted seems like it's based off the past. Some of these situations seems like it could be potentially projected, right? So, and especially the Travis Hunter situation, it has to be projected because he hasn't played any football yet. But I think this was definitely grab our attention, and I'm more than sure it's gonna grab all of the locked on listeners' attention too, and kind of to see, right? Because everybody who's created this list, guess what? If he falls inside the top 100, they get to take a victory lap and say, you know what, we were right. I just know from my stance, I wouldn't put a guy who didn't play a snap of football inside the top 100 just because just the prestige of the actual list and the other guys that's up there that have been 5-time Pro Bowlers, 8-time Pro Bowlers, and played 12 seasons, just things like that, right? That are on to Hall of Fame careers already, or should be gold jacket guys, and he's slated above those guys. So interesting.
Yeah, I just and I'm looking through because I wanted to make sure, like he's above Garrett Wilson. Above Terry McLaurin, right? Yeah. First of all, we got a kicker in here. You know what I mean? Like that's all right. Yep.
Bobby Wagner, like yes. I mean,
I'm looking because I'm trying to make sure going through some of these graphics. I'm like, all right, where's Brian Thomas Jr.? You know what I mean? Like he had an outstanding rookie year last year.
Oh yeah, he didn't make it up. I don't think he made it up here. Yeah.
So like, come on now, like, what are we doing? Like, how do you put like what BTJ was able to do? Like I don't think he's on the list at all. So no, I can't. There is no excuse to be putting Travis Hunter on the top 100. Like, because you could try and poo-poo like Marvin Harrison Jr. He didn't have the expectations were insurmountable. You can say, well, okay, he didn't play the way we thought he was going to play. Like a lot of that's on Kyler Murray too, in their connection. But Brian Thomas Jr. came in and immediately showcase his ability and his value. And I kept how long have I been saying it? Trevor Lawrence thrives with big athletic wide receivers. I've been saying it for years. And they're like, oh yeah, let's go get Christian Kirk and let's go go get him a 6'3" guy that can make plays at the catch point, who has speed and athleticism, and that can get open. I promise you, he's gonna love it. And he loved BTJ. Now he's got Travis Hunter, who can now pair with BTJ and things like that. They end up cutting Gabe Davis and everything. So, yeah, like BTJ came in and played outstanding. Over 1,100 yards or something like that. I think double-digit touchdowns, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, man, what's that of this reaction, this Travis Hunter inside, not just inside the top 100, guys. He was number 67. That is, that the old school, that's too rich for my blood. I can't do it. But Shout out to him, man. You know what I mean? Talented player. Now let's see if he earns that. Let's see if he really earns it with his play on the field as a rookie.
Yep, 100% with DP. That wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast all by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Guys, next week on Monday's show, to kick off the week, it's football's here. NFL training camp's kicking off. It's already kicked off. All 32 teams are in training camp right now, and I think they're probably getting ready to get into full pads sometime next week.
Yeah,
we got with the Hall of Fame game coming up, all that type of stuff. So we're going to start reacting to some of the big news and some of the big things from rookies, first and second year players, or second and third, even third year players and everything. Anthony Richardson, that situation, Bryce Young. We can get into all of that next week. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.